Hey, where's that shipment today? I was checking it last night. Apparently it said it was in Utah, and then checking it today, there's actually no description on what city and stuff it's actually at right now. Although it does say it's supposed to arrive at 7 p.m. now. It's even earlier on Friday. Although it makes me think, doesn't it have to technically arrive at the area, I guess, today? Because usually they drop it off and then they have to sort it out and then the next day they deliver it? Or do they just dump it straight to the company, I guess, for these types of shipments? According to this too, apparently it's supposed to start pouring tons of rain, I guess, starting tomorrow. That's what it says anyways. It's not very good for flying in general. Although I guess about flying, it's kind of interesting reading this one where apparently there are Canuck fans here, which is NHL hockey, and they want the GM fired so much that they're willing to pay, I guess, a plane operator to fly this huge sign saying fire Benning. It says in their GoFundMe, Canuck fans have been suffering for 7 years. Jim Benning has continually shown ineptitude and is clearly over in his head. Canuck fans are demanding that the owners of the Vancouver Canucks fire Jim Benning and replace him with a management team that can build a Stanley Cup championship team immediately. And yeah, you can see basically they raised the funds and people were posting videos and stuff like that of this plane flying with this sign. This guy here says, live at Pitt Meadows Airport, where the fire Benning sign is set to take off in 10 minutes. It is what it is. A plane flying around, I guess, the area with that sign saying fire Benning. That's a lot of money to spend too. I guess that's how it's always been, right? With things like planes and helicopters, although I don't think a drone would be as suitable for this just because of things like flight time. Although with that in mind, with drones, it was kind of interesting reading the perspective on how apparently they say a large majority of people actually like things like drone delivery, whereas with a lot of other articles you've read, they say no, people hate it for privacy reasons and all that. So it's kind of fascinating reading this one. This one says, people who try drone delivery love it. In 2019, Christiansburg, Virginia's 22,000 residents became the first place in the US to have a residential drone delivery service. Yellow Wing drones with a small cardboard box owned by Wing, a company owned by Alphabet, basically Google, are now one of the numerous trial services operating today. But regulations for giant planes full of fuel are not ready for delivery of the future, and the only way to make government get ready is public interest. And then think about this quote here. It says, without proactive guidelines, the public will be stuck with activists doing to drones what they did to agriculture and cell phones. The good news for drone surveys show people love them. They like watching them pick up cargo, they like seeing them zip around, and they like the delivery. They suggest in this survey, 87% of people actually like drone deliveries and stuff too, but according to other surveys, people hate it, and they're kind of explaining, I guess, their point why that's the case. It says, the moment a company seeks to create progress with new technology, a lawyer and a special interest group are looking for a way to sue over it. So other surveys were not neutral. They framed their questions in terms of risk. Respondents were asked to rate their level of concern about potential problems chosen by the creator of the surveys. It is a psychology 101 to that asking people how worried they are about X will make them wonder about X when they never had before. No one was concerned about GMO, insulin, and people in Hawaii were thrilled about having their papaya industry saved before activists from the mainland began asking if they were worried about the doom it brought. That's kind of an interesting perspective. I guess a practical example would be if you ask most people, just from my experience in the general public, what do you think about this drone here? Most people will be like, well, I think it's cool. I capture this for fun and all that. But then the second you rephrase the question to, are you worried that people could use drones to spy on people, that they could hit airplanes and kill people on board? Then all of a sudden they would say, yeah, I guess so. So that kind of completely changes, I guess, the perspective where afterwards, if you have like a report saying, are people worried or scared about drones? Then there you would say, well, yeah, 80% of the people are worried, whereas in reality, they're not too concerned about just the average individual or whatever, using it for taking photos of vacations or whatever. So again, it's kind of an interesting, I guess, different perspective as to why there are things, let's just say hysteria potentially. And it says a community-oriented approach to drone integration is important so they can avoid the pitfalls that face food, chemicals, and vaccines where the companies produce something and tell the people science is clear and activists easily undermine them as shills. I guess on the flip side, people would say, no, the companies are just saying that because they want to sell something. So there it has to come down to how do you just get the neutral data? Well, here it is, make the judgment yourself. No, I guess, political stuff affiliated with it or some kind of crazy narrative. it's kind of like news reports, like I said. Most of them, when I read them, they're not really a news report. They feel like an editorial where there's like a certain slant to it. Just get like the raw information out there, right? And then make a decision. That's how it should be anyways in general when it comes to things like regulations and all that. Alright, see you guys later.